The Foo Fighters are one of the rare rock bands whose origin story begins not with a group of friends in a garage, but with grief, silence, and one musician trying to find a way forward. In 1994, after Nirvana ended, Dave Grohl was known to the world as the powerful drummer behind one of the most important bands of the decade. But privately, he had also been writing songs, playing guitar, and recording ideas of his own. Rather than launch a public comeback immediately, Grohl began the Foo Fighters as a one-man project. The name sounded like a band, but at first it was mostly him writing, singing, playing guitar, playing drums, and shaping a new identity outside the shadow of Nirvana. That beginning matters because it explains the entire spirit of the Foo Fighters, a band built from survival, reinvention, and a stubborn belief that rock music could still feel human, loud, melodic, and emotionally direct. The first Foo Fighters album, released in 1995, was recorded mostly by Grohl alone in just 6 days. That speed gave the debut a raw, urgent quality. It was not designed as a polished manifesto or a calculated career move. It sounded like someone opening the windows after a long storm. Grohl used the project to release songs he had been holding on to, but once labels and listeners responded, the idea had to become real. A record made by one person suddenly needed a band that could stand on stage, tour, and carry the music forward. So Grohl recruited bassist Nate Mendel and drummer William Goldsmith, both from Sunny Day Real Estate, along with guitarist Pat Smear, who had toured with Nirvana. The Foo Fighters made their first public performance in February 1995, before the debut album had even arrived, transforming a private recording project into a living, breathing rock band. The challenge for the early Foo Fighters was enormous. They were not just introducing new songs, they were asking audiences to see Dave Grohl differently. He was no longer hidden behind a drum kit. He was now the singer, guitarist, songwriter, and frontman. That shift could have easily been dismissed as a side project, but Grohl had a gift for writing songs that balanced aggression with melody. Tracks from the debut carried punk energy, pop hooks, and a strange sense of emotional release. The music did not try to copy Nirvana, but it did carry the urgency of someone who understood how heavy music could connect with millions. The early lineup gave the project credibility as an actual band, yet the foundation still came from Grohl's instinct: keep it direct, keep it loud, and make the songs strong enough to survive without explanation. The band's second album, The Color and the Shape, released in 1997, became a defining moment, but making it was anything but smooth. During recording, drummer William Goldsmith left the band after Grohl re-recorded most of the drum parts. That decision revealed both Grohl's perfectionism and the difficulty of turning his one-man vision into a democratic band. Pat Smear also departed soon afterward. The lineup began shifting almost as soon as the Foo Fighters had found mainstream momentum. Yet the album itself helped establish the band's identity more firmly than the debut. It gave them songs that could fill arenas, with emotional dynamics that moved from whisper to explosion. The instability behind the scenes contrasted with the confidence of the music. The Foo Fighters were learning, in public, how to become a durable band while still carrying the intensity of Grohl's original vision. After those early departures, the Foo Fighters entered one of their most important eras by bringing in drummer Taylor Hawkins and guitarist Franz Stahl. Hawkins quickly became more than a replacement behind the kit. His chemistry with Grohl gave the band a new personality: two drummers at heart, one now singing at the front, the other driving the songs with speed, swing, and charisma. Stahl, who had played with Grohl and Scream before Nirvana, represented a link to Grohl's earlier punk roots, but his time in the band was brief. He was fired before the third album, There Is Nothing Left to Lose, was recorded. For a period, the Foo Fighters operated as a trio, with Grohl, Mendel, and Hawkins. That stripped-down lineup helped them reset. Instead of collapsing under lineup changes, they used them to clarify what the band needed to become. There Is Nothing Left to Lose, released in 1999, marked a calmer and more focused chapter. The band had left behind some of the pressure and turbulence of the previous record, and the music reflected a more spacious, melodic approach. After the album was completed, guitarist Chris Shiflett joined, giving the Foo Fighters a lineup that would become central to their long-term sound. Shiflett added precision and depth, helping the band expand from a power trio into a layered guitar-driven machine. This period proved that the Foo Fighters were not just surviving because of Grohl's name. They were building a catalog, a chemistry, and an identity beyond their origin story. By the end of the 1990s, they had moved from a surprising post-Nirvana project into one of the most reliable rock acts of their generation. In the 2000s, the Foo Fighters kept expanding their scale. One by One arrived in 2002 with a heavier, arena-ready sound, followed by In Your Honor in 2005, an ambitious two-disc album split between acoustic songs and louder electric material. That split captured a key part of the band's appeal. They could write huge rock anthems built for festival crowds, but they could also slow down and reveal the emotional songwriting underneath the volume. In 2007, Echoes, Silence, Patience and Grace continued that range, showing a band increasingly comfortable with both intimacy and bombast. These records helped transform the Foo Fighters into a mainstay of modern rock radio and global touring. They were no longer competing with their past. They were building a body of work that crossed generations of fans. A major turning point came with Wasting Light in 2011. Produced by Butch Vig, who had also produced Nirvana's Nevermind, the album carried a sense of history without feeling nostalgic. The band famously embraced a raw recording approach, and Pat Smear returned as a full-time member after years of frequent appearances. His return gave the Foo Fighters a three-guitar attack and reconnected them to their earliest lineup. Wasting Light was both a reminder and a renewal, a band with stadium status choosing to sound urgent, physical, and alive. It became one of their most celebrated albums and reinforced their reputation as defenders of rock's old-school energy in a digital age. The message was clear: the Foo Fighters could be massive without becoming sterile. After Wasting Light, the Foo Fighters increasingly treated albums as more than collections of songs. Sonic Highways, released in 2014, was connected to a television miniseries directed by Grohl, exploring American music history through different cities and studios. It reflected Grohl's growing role not just as a frontman, but as a storyteller and curator of rock culture. Concrete and Gold followed in 2017 and became the band's second album to top the charts in the United States. It was also the first Foo Fighters album to feature keyboardist Rami Jaffee as a full member after years as a session and touring musician. His official addition expanded the band's sonic palette, adding texture beneath the guitars and helping the group sound even bigger without losing its core identity. The Foo Fighters' success was not only commercial. Over time, they became one of the most awarded rock bands in Grammy history, winning 15 Grammy Awards, including Best Rock Album 5 times. That level of recognition is unusual for a band rooted in alternative rock, punk energy, and classic guitar-driven songwriting. Their awards reflected consistency as much as individual peaks. While many rock groups from the 1990s either broke up, faded, or became nostalgia acts, the Foo Fighters kept releasing new material, headlining major festivals, and bringing younger listeners into the rock world. In 2021, they received the first Global Icon Award at the MTV Video Music Awards, and that same year they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in their first year of eligibility. That induction confirmed what fans already knew: the Foo Fighters had become part of rock's permanent story. The band's story also includes profound loss. Medicine at Midnight, released in 2021, became the last Foo Fighters album before the death of Taylor Hawkins in March 2022. Hawkins had been central to the band's energy for more than 2 decades. He was not simply the drummer, he was a visible personality, a musical partner to Grohl, and a beloved figure among fans. His death forced the band to face a question no long-running group wants to answer: how do you continue after losing someone so essential? The answer came slowly and carefully. Josh Freese stepped in as drummer from 2023 to 2025, bringing deep experience and professionalism during a difficult transition. From 2025 onward, Elon Rubin became the drummer, marking another chapter in the band's evolving lineup. The 2023 album, But Here We Are, carried the weight of grief directly into the music. Rather than hide behind the band's familiar explosiveness, it confronted absence, memory, and endurance. That made it one of the most emotionally significant releases in the Foo Fighters catalog. According to the band's continuing discography, their 12th album, Your Favorite Toy, followed in April 2026, showing that the group remained active after decades of reinvention. Looking back, the Foo Fighters' story is not just about hit songs or famous lineup changes. It is about how a private creative escape became a world-famous band, how Dave Grohl stepped out from behind one legendary drum kit to build another legacy, and how the group turned change, loss, and persistence into the engine of its music. The Foo Fighters endured because they made rock feel communal, loud enough for stadiums, personal enough to feel like survival. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.